Okay, now I have my code. It's running, it's working, but I just can't print what is inside my runtime. So for example, I can run it here and it's working, but I don't know what is the final result. What is inside my runtime? How can I check visually if everything is fine? So in Rust, there is this concept of macros that we will learn in the following lessons. But for now, we just need to use a very specific macro that generates code that I can use to print state inside my variables. And the way we do this is by using the derive macro. So the way we use it is we just put derive debug before my structure. And when I do this, it is alerting me that I need to implement debug in all the different variables that are inside. Because if it were like, for example, a string, it's okay because string already implements the debug trait. But in the case of my pallet doesn't implement. So I need to go there and use the same macro. So I need to go to the system palette and then implement the debug. Now I don't have any more errors. And then I need to do the same in the balances. And then I don't have any error. And right now I can print my runtime. So if I run the code again, you see I have the runtime, and inside it there's a system palette and with block number 1, now for Alice 2, and in the balances I have all the balances Alice, Bob, and Charlie correctly set up. So it will be very useful in when you develop anything in Rust to have this debug, this derive debug trait. And you don't need to understand too much about macros right now. It's just that it creates codes for you, so you don't need to implement all this trait because debug is a trait. And then it's very complicated code. You don't need to understand this. But the only thing that you need to understand is that when you add it to any structure, it will create a lot of code for you that will allow you to print what is inside this data structure. And that's why when I run it, let me run it again, you can see all the states here. And this is what you need to know about macros. In the future, we are going to create macros for our own code. The idea of macros is to remove duplication. If you have a lot of code, duplicated code, that it's always the same, use a macro, and this macro will allow you to write less code, to generate code based on code. And this is a very powerful thing, but and we are going to use in future. But right now we are just using this very common way of printing content from different objects.